Hello, I'm Glargity, and first of all, congratulations, we hit 1,000 subscribers, baby! But that's not what this video is about. If you read the title, you'll know that this is an update on the CreepShow art situation. My 1,000 subscriber special will not be coming out until mid-September or early September. It's because I'm moving right now, so all of my videos are currently being pre-recorded. Except for this one, actually. I'm going to record this and then I'm going to send it out as soon as possible because it's time to cover the CreepShow art situation once again. If you haven't seen my first video, I recommend going and watching it. It goes over basically all of CreepShow art's history. But I really want to cover the Emily Artful situation again, because Emily Artful came out with a new video. It will be linked down below. And that new video basically covers evidence, it clarifies a couple things, and it also shows hard proof that CreepShow art is her stalker. With that being said, let's get the disclaimer out of the way. Everything I say in this video is either alleged or my opinion. We have no solid evidence that these allegations have been proven true. All I can say is that this evidence is very compelling. There is a lot of evidence, okay? There's a ton of evidence. Emily Artful shows hard proof that this is her real account, that these accounts have been messaging her for a long time. And all I can say is it's very compelling. But since it hasn't been settled in a court of law, technically it's still alleged, and my opinion as well as Emily Artful's opinion. So for somebody who's only been doing this for a month, YouTube is hard, but it's gotta be even harder with a stalker on your, just following you around constantly. So I really have to hand it to Emily Artful, somebody who knows that they have a stalker following them, and is still happy to be so open and public and nice on the internet. I don't know how you wouldn't completely shut down after this. But to come out with the first video condemning CreepShow art and really pushing the conversation to not just her current actions of backstabbery, but then again going into CreepShow's past actions and wanting her to be held accountable fully for what she has done is incredibly brave. And then not only that, still want the conversation to keep going to a point where you make another video with even more evidence. Getting Twitter to go back and collect that screenshot data for you so you can prove it again. I believed Emily Artful in the first place. And that's something I would have stated in the first video as well. But there's just something incredible about the fact that she came back, she delivered on her promise of more receipts, and she wanted to prove without a shadow of a doubt that, one, this happened to her, and it was devastating, and two, that she was able to pull up more evidence to condemn Anthony and CreepShow. And honestly, that's incredibly brave of her, and if you're subscribed to me, you should probably be subscribed to Emily, because she does way more than me. And also, she's been a huge part of the community for a long time. She basically started the trend of sketchbook story time. She's a really big anchor in the community, and the fact that she's coming out with this as well, I've just got a huge amount of respect for her. And if you're subscribed to me but not her, I don't know what to say. Go subscribe to her, go support her, leave a comment that says like something nice. She really needs support right now, because coming out with this is incredibly brave of her, and I feel like if we support her, then this kind of thing will no longer feel like it's just going under the radar. I know it's huge when she came out with this allegations against CreepShow art, but people get harassed and stalked and internet hate all the time, and she's coming out with it, and it's huge right now. But if we support her, if we show that we're on her side, we believe her, and we're here for her, then people who aren't as big, who are receiving internet hate like this, will look at that and say, hey, I can come out with my experience with this, and hopefully it'll inspire people to be more open and honest about these things, so they can come out and they can talk about their experiences, and it'll lessen them. We need to support people being held accountable, because if people aren't held accountable, then they think they can get away with anything, like CreepShow art did. But enough being sappy. Let's go over the Emily Artful new evidence video, and I'll cover what I think is important from it, and we'll move on from there. Emily goes over a very fascinating point, and I think it's important to point out. CreepShow Art's Twitter was deleted, so not everything that CreepShow Art had sent to Emily, other than the screenshots that Emily had, were able to be recollected from the proof that Emily showed in her newest video. But what I think is weird is that Anthony, CreepShow Art's boyfriend slash husband, his Twitter's also deleted. And here's the thing, he's kind of a nobody, so why would he delete his Twitter unless he has been, harassing somebody and that's about to catch up to him in a big way? But that's just a theory, a game theory. Sorry, MatPat. So yeah, that doesn't seem at all like a coincidence, but I understand that CreepShow decided to delete her Twitter because of mental health reasons. I understand that social media can be a bit pressing, and that makes a lot of sense. But Anthony needing to delete his Twitter for no reason doesn't make a lot of sense, especially because his YouTube, when it was still up, only had about 331 subscribers. So it's kind of obvious who was the social media maven of the two. So I don't understand why Anthony, resident nobody, loser, and accused rapist, would have to delete his Twitter for any other reason than, hey, there's some evidence on there that I don't want my ex pulling up, And we've all been there, You do something wrong, and then the person who's most affected by that wrong thing asks you, hey, I know you did something wrong. Can you just tell me why? And then you rush to delete all evidence before it hits you. Like, one time, I absolutely just couldn't wait until dessert, and I ate 2 chocolate mousse from the fridge, and my mom told me, hey, why is there mousse missing from the fridge? And I immediately decided to throw the glass containers that they were stuck in the backyard, hoping she wouldn't find out. But here's the thing, I was 10 when that happened, and Anthony's a grown-up. So, yeah, not to be mean or anything, but if you can't handle the consequences, maybe don't do horrific things. Apparently, CreepShow came forward to Tipster to explain that Emily wasn't assaulted because she wasn't intoxicated, but I tend to believe Emily on this because, one, CreepShow has a lot to hide. She's lied before. She is not a reliable narrator at this point. But if I'm really looking at it, I also just believe Emily straight up because it happens more than you think. Assault happens all the time, and it's believable that somebody who has been so traumatized by this that it took them up to 8+ years to come forward with it, and only because it is evidence. And also the fact that Emily only found out what it truly was because she went to therapy and found out about it, that is quite common for victims of assault. To not realize that this isn't something that you did wrong, this isn't like an oops on your part. So yeah, the fact that Shannon comes forward specifically to defend her husband / boyfriend, because she's just like, oh, it was just cheating, it was just terrible, and Emily's lying. Shannon, grow up. Be a human being, have some empathy, and grow up. But let's move on to the next point. After all that's been explained, Emily goes on to show some lengthy receipts, showing her personal phone, and with some stuff blurred out, obviously, because personal information is all on your phone. She scrolls up, she shows her Twitter, she shows the handle, she shows where she grabbed the screenshots from, and honestly, it's all super compelling, especially since she shows her own art account on Twitter. So all of this looks pretty solid, but again, it is just receipts that we've seen before. And unless Emily's some super genius that can pull up a decoy phone with decoy receipts, decoy apps, decoy Twitter, that seems pretty far-fetched, and I'm inclined to believe that these screenshots come from a reliable place. The next point that Emily really goes over is that Shannon constantly throws this guy, Brandon, under the bus. Brandon, in the first video, Emily explains that Brandon is just a guy that she, Anthony, and CreepShow all mutually know. Brandon apparently had some violent tendencies in his youth, and they weren't violent in the, like, hurting people way. They were violent as in he was spouting hateful thoughts out loud. He would also express those things to Anthony, and Anthony would egg them on. Anthony already being a violent person, it's not hard to believe that they were kind of on the same wavelength. But as far as I'm aware, I don't think Brandon has done anything criminal, and also I do not think that Brandon is even a part of this. I feel like he's just a scapegoat for Anthony and CreepShow, because I hope, like most people I went to high school with, that he dropped his very weird, hateful ways, and he decided that, hey, it's time to grow up apparently, and moved on from this kind of facade where he needs to be angry all the time. Honestly, I hope he got help, because from what Emily expresses in her first video, Brandon apparently is somebody who was suffering from a lot of inner turmoil that expressed its own way in trying to arc out, you know? Like when a kid going through puberty decides to smash mailboxes. Like, hopefully Brandon has got some help, has found a way to express himself in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, and hopefully he's feeling a little better. But it's obviously something that Anthony and Shannon haven't done, which leads me to believe that them throwing Brandon under the bus is kind of banking on the idea that Emily still remembers how hateful and terrible he was in his youth, and totally forgets that Anthony is exactly the same and could be harassing her to this day. So they really want to shove all the blame onto this Brandon guy instead of onto them. Another point that Emily pulls up is that Anthony has an animosity towards CreepShow, or Shannon. Like, he doesn't want to express that they're dating to Emily at all. He keeps on pulling up the idea that, you know, like, CreepShow and him are just seeing each other right now. They're not actively in a relationship. But he has expressed to Emily before that he is in a relationship with, like, other people, but never CreepShow art specifically. So that's why Emily's a little confused on whether they are married or not. And I think that that is just another way that Anthony wants to control how Emily perceives him. Because he claims to CreepShow that Emily forced him to cheat on her. And that's not true, as we've gone over. But I feel like he wants to keep his options open for Emily, because in a way, he is obsessed with her in a very creepy, stalkerish, and criminal way, frankly. Let's just call it what it is. Anthony's stalking Emily. And CreepShow's stalker language is very different. It's more of jealous, catty, kind of like it's nippy. It's like a little chihuahua. It's like, oh, you're not very good, or you're terrible, you buy subscribers and views. Whereas Anthony is all, he comments on her things. He also commented on her body at one point in a very backhanded, weird way to, I think, make sure that Emily stays at his level. Because here's the thing, Emily's a grown-up now. She has a family and a husband and people who care about her. She's got a support network, she's sober, and frankly, now that she is all of those things, she's out of Anthony's league. And this weird backhand compliment is meant to make sure that she stays within reach, or he's trying to confirm that she's still within reach, because if she replies trying to win his approval, then he knows he still has a quote-unquote shot. But the thing is, he doesn't, because Anthony's trash garbage, and so is Shannon. And really the last point that Emily goes over, and I guess that I'm going over as well, is that Emily's life is changed forever. These two people have made it so Emily can't live without looking over her shoulder, without timing her breaths, without making sure that everyone online isn't really secretly lying to her to get some new information so that they can stalk her or terrify her or just threaten her again. Emily's life is forever changed because for more than a handful of years, she has been stalked, threatened, harassed by two people that literally have nothing better to do. And for people who keep on saying, like, how can it be Shannon? She had so much going on. One, Anthony doesn't really have a lot going on, honestly. I don't even know if he has a job. But Anthony has all the time in the world, and Shannon's hobby apparently was going online to lolcow and pretending to be somebody else, to make fun of her friends, to make fun of herself. Shannon's an unreliable narrator about what she's actually doing. She even kind of pretended to be homeless. Not that she wasn't without a home for a significant amount of time, but she chose not to live in a home for Anthony, which is a whole other codependent, toxic relationship. But what I think is really wrong with this is, just like Kai and Onision, Shannon has fed into this idea that being with Anthony is the most important thing. So whatever he's into at the time, whatever hobbies he picks up, that's her new life now. Honestly, I feel like they should break up, get divorced, do something, and go get therapy separately. Because as much as I believe that Shannon might have been a victim of this from Anthony as well, I feel like there comes a point where you cross the line over into you're just the stalker now. Like, it's no longer just Anthony's problem, now it's yours too, Shannon. Go get some help. Go be a person. Show some empathy. Just fix yourself. And don't come back to YouTube. That might sound controversial, but don't come back. The internet has ruined who you are as a person because you fed into the most toxic parts of it. And Anthony, I don't even know who you are. You're kind of the worst. You bit at an ex for years of your life, to the point where the only thing I know about you is that you're the worst person on earth. So, hey, go to therapy, fix yourself, and detach yourself from Shannon, because it's not helping your image. Now, with that being said, I'm just gonna add this in here. Go subscribe, comment something nice on Emily's channel, show her support, just like I've said before. And if you like this video, comment, like, tell me something. Just, you know what? Just tell me something in the comments. Be like, I like dogs, the color red, or, you know, like, I have curtains in my room. Just tell me something. Doesn't matter what. I would just love to hear from you, lovely people. And then again, I've been Glargity, and as always, it is very... it's not going to be nice. This video isn't nice, but it feels cathartic. Not cathartic. It feels fitting that this video is kind of marking, you know, like 1,000 subscribers. And my first video was also a CreepShow art video. So I guess that sort of fits. And thank you so much for watching. Please be safe, everyone, and have a wonderful day.